Now to the story that continues to make headlines in the sports world and well beyond. Matt Lauer's exclusive interview with Ray and Janae Rice. Tonight, you will hear Ray Rice break his silence in this very first television interview since the nation last saw him in that video beating the woman who is now his wife.
Ray Rice can play again, but will an NFL team sign him? The former running back for the Baltimore Ravens spoke about his uncertain future with Matt Lauer.
Matt Lauer asks Janae if Ray Rice ever hit her before, because so many people had wondered about that, or since that elevator incident. And frankly, I found her body language a little strange when she was answering that. It seems clear that he hasn't hit her since, but she seemed to to not answer directly about whether or not he'd ever hit her before. Did you ask that in your sit-down interview with her?
I'm curious, Janae, did you think that you were in an abusive relationship, knowing what he just said, that there are many different forms of abuse?
Now, look at all that coverage. Look at all the money that's being used to bring attention to this domestic dispute that happened between a running back and his wife. Not the star quarterback or the coach or the owner, just a running back. All this money that's being used, all these television spots, all these people being paid to do segments that just go over this incident over and over and over again, and to frame it in a certain way. But with this recent one, with Mr. White, whose name is very appropriate for this situation, well, the coverage is very different. Things seem to be very different. Now, to be fair, not enough time has passed, but I guarantee you that they're not going to be having television segments and all kinds of different interviews a year or so down the line where they're bringing on Dana White's wife or his family members, asking his wife if this is the first time it's happened, asking her if she feels like she's the face of domestic violence. They're not going to be doing that. They're not going to be bringing him on, trying to belittle him and trying to make him look smaller than he is, and to put him down in a certain way. And I'm making this video again because it goes to my whole stop shopping thing. These news organizations that go out of their way to shape the narrative that black men are criminals and that black men need to be punished, and then when the same thing is done by a white person, go out of their way to shape the narrative that says, well, this was this was an isolated incident. This was one off. Well, maybe you happened to be drunk at that time, so maybe there's an excuse. Or your wife, she shouldn't have put her hands on you, so that was wrong. So you're not fully in the wrong, Mr. White Man. There are these other circumstances surrounding this that kind of give you a pass. These organizations, that act in this duplicitous, deceitful way, they exist because we keep giving money as a group, as black people. We keep giving money to these organizations that fund them. Disney owns places like ESPN. And all these different companies that we give our white-run companies that we give our money to, they own these organizations, these news outlets, who will either frame the story to protect the white criminal, or will just go out of their way to try to bury the story if a white criminal is involved. While at the same time, they frame the narrative to demonize and destroy black communities, or they will go out of their way to cherry pick certain stories that have black people in it just in order to frame us in a certain way. And we're the ones financing these people, and we're the ones giving them the money that they need to do the things that they do. And black people, if you're upset about things like this, well, you have to punish them. I don't know what else to say or how else to say it. If this is something that upsets you, then you have to punish these people. And the only way you punish them is by pulling your money. You have to stop shopping with these big organizations. Now, I wanted to go over this because all of the coverage obviously is all BS, and you can see how they're going out of their way to protect this Dana White guy. But this Thunder Cunt whore from ESPN when I saw this, I was floored.
I just want to say a couple of things. They talked about being drinking heavily.
Yeah.
When you're under the influence, not shining moments, often people don't make their best decisions. So in that sense, it's a cautionary tale.
Yep.
And in terms of it being an isolated incident, I've known Dana since I'm 22. I have
Yes.
the utmost respect for him.
Yes.
And I don't judge people by their worst moment. I agree with you on that punishment part. And the other piece that I just want to say, as a woman, it was also his wife's hands on him. So no one should be putting their hands on anyone.
Okay.
Male, female, female, male.
So when you have if a black person is accused of something, you have people coming out of their way saying there's no excuse. Is this something that they've done before? Is this in their history? This was just a horrible thing that they've done. They should be punished. All of this stuff. When a white person does it, you see all kinds of excuses. Do these people who are actually doing these segments, do they not realize, or do they not see themselves how two-faced and hypocritical this is while they're doing it? I mean, can you imagine a black man slapping his wife multiple times and then pulling her by her shoulders or her throat or however it was done out of the frame? Could you imagine that being done, and then a woman on the news coming out and saying, oh, well, this is an isolated incident. Oh, I don't judge people by their worst moments. Well, there was a lot of alcohol involved. It may have been justified because the woman hit him. Anyone that thinks that would happen is a cocksucking liar. That would never happen. So the fact that it's happening now is insanity. And the thing that I want to focus on is this whore is saying all this stuff now, not because she thought of it in her head. These people are coached and prepped before they go online. Most of these people are just commentators. They're actors. They hire somebody. That's why you don't see any ugly fat women on ESPN, because they're not hiring people based on merit or based on their background or based on the way that they think. They're not doing that. They're hiring women based on their looks and people that they know that they can control and that they can talk to. They're actresses. They hire these actors and actresses and just give them lines to read and points to hit on these shows. There's a producer in the background. These people have little things in their ears where the producer is able to talk to them, direct them like they're an actor, because that's what they are. So this whore is not. This isn't her commentary. This is some white producer in the background. The same people that told. Was it ESPN? It was some news organization that told their news pundits not to cover this story, not to talk about this Dana White story. The same way that they did that, they're telling this woman, Molly Kirkcock, whatever her name is, they're telling her what to say. They're telling her, well, we want you to frame it this way. We want you to go over these talking points because we want to use this propaganda to kind of shield this rich white man from the same scrutiny and attacks that we would normally encourage on a black person. And again, the reason that this stuff is being done, the reason that you have these white people going out of their way to not cover stories while going out of their way to cover other stories, pushing their propaganda, the reason that they give certain negative talking points, 100% negative talking points about black people, while going out of their way to give these positive talking points about white people, is because us black people don't punish them. These people are racist, cock-sucking, cum-guzzling animals who have a jealousy for black people, and you see that in the products that they produce. And the products they produce are the movies, the television shows, the media that they push out. You see it all in their media. So on the news stations, if a black person gets involved in an incident like this, they go out of their way to demonize that black person. Whereas if a white person does it, they don't fucking talk about it. They make sure not to spread that news to the rest of the world. They hide it. And if it leaks out somehow and they have to cover it, well, then they go out of their way to make sure that they do damage control to kind of cover the white person and shape the narrative so that the white person, and by extension the white community, doesn't look as bad as they try to make the black community look. And these people have the ability to do that because, again, we finance them and we don't punish them. There's no punishment for the blatant racism that comes out of these white-run organizations. Black people will continue to just blindly and stupidly give money to these people, and then if something like this happens, well, they'll go online and maybe talk about it, but who gives a fuck? Talking about it doesn't do anything. In a month or so, this will have disappeared, and people will have stopped talking about it, and it will slowly become forgotten. And these organizations will keep doing what they do. You'll have another black person involved in something, and they'll be right back on the news saying, well, this is just all the way bad, and this person is just a bad person. There is no excuse for what they did. Because there's no punishment. Why would they stop? Why would they change? It's like a bully. If a bully keeps picking on you in the street, smacking you in the face, and pushing you around and spitting on you, and you don't do anything about it, well, the bully's not going to stop. They're having fun. They're enjoying this. So why would they stop? They know that there is no penalty. You're not going to do nothing, so why stop? So all the black people out there that are wondering, that are upset that this stuff keeps happening, be upset at yourself. Because you're not doing anything about it. Not only are you not doing anything about it, but you are at the same time rewarding the behavior because you continue to fund them and give them money. You continue to watch their shows, which brings in revenue dollars. You continue to buy their products in stores, no matter who they're connected to. You continue to just work for them. You work for them, then they give you money. You take that money that they gave you and you give it right back to them by shopping in their stores. So in essence, you're just rewarding these people. You're helping them get bigger and stronger and wealthier and more powerful. So why would they stop? You don't penalize them and you reward them all at the same time. So it took me a while to make this because I wasn't going to make it, and then I decided, I got to make it because I keep talking about this stop shopping thing, and this is just another example. Stop giving these people money. Again, companies like ESPN are owned by other companies. I keep trying to make this point to people, but YouTube goes out of their way to block my videos so people don't see them and shadow ban me. So it discourages me from making things because my stuff doesn't get looked at. So it's like I'm making it for no reason. But these organizations are owned by other organizations so that you don't know about. So you don't know about the ties between these different organizations. So you may say, well, I don't support ESPN. I don't watch their shows. I don't have anything to do with them. So I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not rewarding these companies. And I'm using ESPN as an example. But again, ESPN is owned by Disney. And a lot of people don't know that. So if you own a subscription to Disney Plus, or you go to see Marvel movies, or you purchase Disney products, or you watch Star Wars television shows or movies, or you buy their products, any of this stuff that you're doing, by extension, you are funding ESPN because these big white run conglomerates all are in bed with each other. So when you go out and blindly shop, you don't know who you're giving your money to because all these companies have a hand in all these other things. So you may not partake in a certain product directly by giving them your money directly. But if you go out to these big stores and you frequent these big companies or whatever, and you're helping to finance or fund these other big companies, going to big stores, going to these big movies, going to these big restaurants, you are by extension financing and rewarding companies like ESPN and all these other companies that do horrible things to us because again, they all own each other and they take the little bit of money that you may give them only a little bit of money, but collectively it adds up. The money that we as black communities, as black people give to these companies around the country, that adds up after a while. It turns into something much bigger. They use that big lump sum of money and they go out and they hire and pay people like Stephen A. Smith and Molly Quorum and all these other people that you see on the news who are engaging in this duplicitous, demonic, anti-black racism. where again they go out of their way to demonize and destroy the black community and spread propaganda that they know will negatively affect the black community, while at the same time working to shield, to either hide the negative and bad things done by white society, or work to spread propaganda that will minimize it so that the white society doesn't get as much negative attention or as many attacks. That's why you see people of other races from other countries who come in and are afraid of black people and don't respect black people and dislike black people, while at the same time worshiping and praising white people. Because in their other countries, in their home countries, they watch news programs and things from here. They watch television shows and movies and things from here, opinionated shows and commentary and talk shows from here, and all of those shows go out of their way to make black people look negative while working to make white people look positive. So you got to punish these companies somehow. You have to do something to punish them, and the only way you punish them is by pulling your money. I'm glad a lot of people are at least talking about this, because, I mean, can you imagine? I mean, when Mike Tyson had his incident, he was all on the, I mean, who was it? Barbara Walters sat down with them, and he was sitting there like a little boy being talked to as if he was a child, demeaning him, kind of making him look like a bad person. Again, Ray Rice, I wanted to use that as an example because it's one of the most recent ones. I mean, they just paraded him all over the place. Not only did they parade him all over the place to make him look like some sort of animal and like some sort of monster, but then they took away his ability to make money. They bankrupted him as a result of it. This Dana White guy, that's not going to happen. They're not going to take away his ability to make money. This guy's going to still be out there making money, being on television. They're going to still go out of their way to promote him. You hear all these people in the news, well, Dana White is my friend and I respect him. He is my great friend. All that stuff is propaganda that these television producers shape and push in order to shield the white person who's committed the crime, or to shield white society in general. And it's disgusting to see, and it's something we got to do, something that we have to fight against, and we have to do something about it. And then the last thing I wanted to say, again, I say certain things that aren't politically correct. It doesn't mean that what I'm saying isn't correct. It's not politically correct, meaning that society has come together and said that this is wrong, but it's not wrong. I say what I think is right because I don't give a fuck, and I like to say whatever the fuck I want. I get tired of this narrative that a man should never, there's no reason for a man to put his hands on a woman.
I don't care what she does. If she starts punching you, then you turn around and walk away. If she starts following you, then you walk faster. If she starts chasing you, then you outrun her. If you have to, you get behind the door. But you don't ever, never, ever put your hands on a woman in anger, ever.
Couple things. If men and women are equal in every way, right? Let's say, based on what we see in the news, on television, things like that, women are just as powerful as men. They're actually more mature than men and smarter than men. They're more capable than men. Men are dogs and perverts because we think about having intercourse, even though women do think about intercourse too, but it doesn't make them dogs or perverts or anything. It just makes them sexually aware. But men are negative in every way, and women are actually superior, it seems, to the male. But for some reason, even though we are equal as men and women, women have the right and the ability to assault. Well, I'm sorry, I'll frame it another way. Even though we're equal, one group has the right to physically assault, verbally assault, and assault it, I guess, in every way, the other group, and that other group doesn't have the right to even defend themselves from the assault. So In my mind, that means we're not equal. Because that's logically that doesn't make sense. If we're equal, and you are allowed to engage in assault against me, and I'm not even allowed to defend myself from the assault, well, that means that either you're higher than me and I'm lower than you, and that's why there's a disparity there, or you think I'm higher than you, and as a result, I shouldn't be attacking you because I'm higher than you and you're lower, and I shouldn't be hitting down. It's one or the other. Either you think, well, the males are these lower animals, and so we can treat them like animals and they can't do anything in return because they're lower than us, or you feel, and again, I'm not saying this. This must be what people feel. I'm suggesting this is what people feel. Well, again, men must be higher than us, and as a result, they shouldn't be hitting down because they're higher, and it's morally wrong. It's either one of the two. It's one or the other. It can't be that we're equal, because again, if we're equal, then why is the disparity there? You have to explain the disparity. Why can one group go out of their way to why does one group get a pass and they have the ability to just attack whenever they want and assault, and the other group doesn't? Not only does the other group not have that same right, but if the other group is being assaulted, they don't even have the right to defend themselves from the assault. I mean, if a woman spits in my face and starts slapping me, I have to just take it or run. But if she spits in my face and slaps me, and I slap her back to stop let's say I just push her to the floor to stop the assault, I'm in the wrong. Well, then that means we're not equal. So that's point number one. Point number two, just the stupidity in that whole statement, that there's no reason for a man to ever hit a woman. It's these stupid absolutes that people that don't have brains just come up with. There's no reason at all. What if you're out? It's a night. You're having a nice picnic time, and you're out with your mother. Let's say it's Mother's Day. You're taking your mother out to a picnic in the park, and you guys are sitting on a blanket, and you guys are eating some strombolis. I don't know. You're eating a stromboli. And your mom's like, "Oh, this is really good, son. What do you think?" And you're like, "This is great, Mom. I'm going to go to this car real quick and get some Parmesan cheese because this will make the strombolis even better." And you get up and you start walking away. And you hear a scream. And you turn back and you see a woman with a machete in her hand running towards your mother. And so you run back towards your mom. And the woman gets to your mom and she raises the machete. And the only way you can stop her, there's only one way to stop her, and that's to knock her down so you can get your mother out of the way. Push her, hit her, do something to do something physical to get her out of the way, because you can't lift your mother up off the ground quick enough. You don't want the woman hitting you with the machete either. So you have to hit this woman in order to stop the assault. Do you just stand there? Because society said, no, remember, sir, there's never a reason for you to put your hands on a woman. Do you just stand there and wait for the assault? Do you get there and say, "Mom, I love you. I'm sorry you have to die, but society said I can't do anything"? What about when the police shot Breonna Taylor and they executed her? What about when they murdered her in her house and she was naked? Were there calls? Were people all on the news saying there was never a reason to attack a woman? I mean, in this instance, the woman wasn't even doing anything. She wasn't even armed. She wasn't even near them. But it's okay to hit a woman now, but it's not okay when we say it is. Who are the ones saying that we can't do it? Who are these people? I just don't like the blinds, because I go on Twitter, on social media and stuff, and people just repeat this stupid phrase, and it's the blind stupidity that people don't even try to use logic to think. They just hear shit and follow it without thinking. There's never a reason to hit a woman, ever. There's never a reason for a man to put his hands on a woman or to strike or to hurt a woman, ever. That's what we're constantly told. What about the men in the United States military who were murdering women in Iraq? It was okay then? Why was it okay then? Who said it was okay then? Are there certain rules that we don't know about that make it okay at certain points? Who made those rules? Where are those rules? Where do I find them? Did you get a copy? I never got a copy. So apparently, there are instances where it's okay to hurt a woman until the media and society says it's not okay. Well, fuck your stupid logic. I'm not that type of person. There are instances where if a woman is threatening the lives of people you love or your life, you punch that bitch full force in the mouth. You do whatever you can to protect yourself. I'm tired of that shit. Where people are constantly saying that fucking bullshit and nobody pushes back against it ever. Because people are too afraid. Because there's people in positions of power able to take away your fucking livelihood if you just be honest. We have worked to make sure that honesty is ignored and corralled. Because people are too afraid of losing their fucking money. So we just fucking lie. I'm so tired of that shit. This Dana White guy, I don't know what this guy has gone through with his wife, whether what happened or why he hit his wife. I don't know what happened there. But if a woman is going out of her way to assault, even if she just, well, I'm going to embarrass, because that's one thing I always like to bring up to people. It's not fair to allow bullies to just get away with certain things, and because people are stupid and aren't able to use logic, they are incapable of viewing women as bullies when it comes to the dynamic of a woman versus a man. Because again, most people feel, and again, I'm not saying this, but this is apparently what most people feel. Most people feel that men are physically superior to women, that we are superior in some way to women, and as a result, a woman can't bully a man because he's somehow superior. That's people's logic. That's the only reason why people say the things that they say. But so when you talk about a woman bullying a man, it's like people don't understand it. But if you're a smart person and you sit down and use logic, sometimes you got to use logic. Unless if you don't use logic, you're a stupid monkey. If you sit down and use logic, it is a form of bullying, because what does a bully do? A bully will pick on someone because they know that the person doesn't have the ability to fight back, whether the person is just too afraid, whether the person is just smaller than you or weaker than you, or the person just doesn't have enough backup. For whatever reason, the bully knows that the person I am picking on, that person, there is something preventing them from fighting back, and that's why I'm able to do what I'm doing to them. That's why I'm able to bully them. That's why I keep doing it, because I know there is this thing preventing them from defending themselves. That's what a bully does. So if no woman is going to go up in the middle of the night. You're not going to see a woman in the middle of the night in an alley where she's all by herself and there's this 6'2", 300-pound man there. You're not going to see her walk up to him and smack him in the face and point in his face and push him around and yell at him. Because she knows what's going to happen if she does that. There's nobody else around. She knows what can possibly happen to her, so she's not going to do that. But you'll see women do it publicly because they know, well, now if I do it publicly in front of people, there is something that will prevent that person from fighting back. So I can smack him in the mouth, I can spit in his face, I can yell at him, belittle him, and demean him, because I know that in order to save face, he's not going to do anything about it because there's people looking. So I know that there is something preventing him from fighting back. So that's why I'm going to engage in this assault against the person. Or some women will do it privately to people that they know that they can get some women will do it to their boyfriends or their husbands, because they from experience, they know what the man's not going to do anything. And the reason they do that is, once again, they know, well, if this guy decides to get upset, if he gets too upset and he pushes back, I can always call the cops. I can call the police. And he has to come back home, so I can always have him arrested or hurt. So I can smack him in the face. I can threaten to kill him, spit on him, belittle him. If he does anything that I don't like, well, I can call the police, and they will punish him for me. So I know that there is this threat of law enforcement that will prevent him from fighting back and defending himself from my assault. So now I'm going to engage in this assault and continue to do it. That's what bullies do, and I don't like bullies. I don't agree that a man should hit on a woman for no reason. I also don't think that I also think that because you're a man and you are physically stronger, that when you get into certain altercations, you do hold back a little bit because your strike is a lot stronger than hers. But at the same time, I wouldn't tell any person, any living thing, to just allow someone to assault them and bully them and pick on them, and they don't do anything to defend themselves or stand up for themselves. I would never say that or do that. And we keep hearing about this stupid shit on the news, and it's something that they use in order to pick on the people that they want to pick on. Because again, when Ray Rice was in this incident and his wife was yelling at him, jumping in his face, spitting in his face, and then gesturing that she was going to keep attacking him, and he defended himself, well, there was no talk about, oh, well, she came after him first and he was defending him. There was no talk about, well, she shouldn't have done what she done. That was not done. And if it was done, you know exactly what would have happened. White media would have created a campaign that demonized anyone that said that and said, well, you should protect women. You never go after a woman. You are victim shaming. That's what they would have said, that you're victim shaming. Now all of a sudden, when it's being done, when a white person's doing it, well, there's no one's going to come after Molly Quorum and say, well, she's victim shaming because she said, well, she suggested that Dana White was sort of justified because he was assaulted by his wife before the assault, before he attacked her. So those are the two things I wanted to talk about. But mainly it was the stop shopping message. Black people are starting to see this thing where it's just really, it's becoming so blatant now that it's crazy, where white organizations will go out of their way to demonize black people and black society as a group, but then when the white person does the same exact thing, they either hide it, they do everything they can to hide it, and if it does leak out and they have to talk about it, well, then they're going to go out of their way to work to shape the conversation so that it protects the white person, and as a result protects white society. And black people are seeing it more and more. You see it with things like when Bill Cosby is being attacked for lies made up by whores, and the white media goes out of their way to do all kinds of news segments, news coverage, documentaries to shape propaganda that demonizes black society. But then when you have people like Stephen Collins, the guy from Seventh Heaven, who admits, yeah, I was having sex with underage girls, the story don't even get talked about. It's not even mentioned. They hide it. They go out of their way to hide it. Black people, you're seeing it. If you want to do something, you got to punish people. You have to punish them. And the only way that we can punish them is by taking away our money. If enough of us do it and collectively we get on board and enough of us pull our money, I'm trying to tell people, only then will white society kind of stand up and say, all right, what's going on, black people? What do we need to do? The same way that it was done in the 60s. Black people started to boycott, pull their money from these white companies. The white companies then got together and said, we got to do something to get these people to start spending their money with us again, because we don't want them to continuously spend money within their own community, because that will build them up while taking away from us. And that's why you got the civil rights movement. That's why the civil rights movement got the traction that it did. And it's only going to work if we do that now. And I don't know how else to say it. I don't know what else to say. I don't know how many different examples to give. I have subscribers here who faithfully comment because they like, I guess they like the message that I give, and I thank those people and I appreciate them. But most people I see my videos, they don't even comment. Nobody even talks about it. It's not even like a conversation. It's just people are just, I don't know, just so stupid that I don't know. I think I need to just accept the fact that the majority of people, that's just the reality of life. The majority of humanity is just stupid. You have a small percentage that is very smart. You have a small percentage that is very stupid, that is just, like retards and imbeciles. And then the vast majority in the middle are just, just dumb people. They just follow whatever they're told to do, and they just go along with the flow until they die, and it's a cycle that's been repeated. I'm getting to the point where I have to accept that fact and be okay with it, because again, not a lot of people see these, so you're not going to see the video get a lot of this idea get a lot of traction because YouTube blocks my videos. They go out of their way to shadow ban me and block me. I could tell you a whole host of things that YouTube does, because YouTube is a wealthy company and they don't want to spread the mess. They don't want, wealthy people are pathetic animals, and they don't want poor people. They don't want equality, so they go out of their way to hide messages like this. So the videos aren't going to get a lot of traction, is what I'm trying to say. But the views that I get, let's say I put out a video and it gets 100 views, I'll get like 2-3 comments from from a handful of faithful subscribers who go out of their way to comment because they know that they're helping me in some way, and to reassure me and reinforce me a bit, and I appreciate those people. But the point I'm trying to make is I'll get 100, 200 views, and I'll only get the comments from the faithful people who I appreciate. But all the other people that see it, they don't even have nothing to say. It's just like, I didn't hear. I guess I didn't hear what he said. I'll put this thing on things like Twitter, and people will fight against it. Well, why would you stop shopping? That's stupid. And I want to say, well, what would you do? What do you suggest? We're being murdered in the streets. The media is going out of their way to demonize us, to belittle us, to insult us, to demean us, to put targets on our back. We're being poisoned. We're being targeted in hospitals by the medical. The government's targeting us. The justice. Everyone is coming against us, and we got to do something. I'm suggesting not shopping, and you're shooting it down. What is your suggestion? And they never have a fucking suggestion. They're just like, oh, well, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know. It's like, what the fuck? I don't understand that. Stuff is happening to us as a group, and nobody wants to do anything but complain. You go online, and I think people will make tweets, and it makes them feel better about themselves afterwards. I don't know. I'm just venting at this point. But I made this video. It's another stop shopping video. You got to pull your money. These companies are all intertwined, these big white companies. So you'll be going to any of these big stores that you go to, these big chain stores that you see in every state and in every city, and you go to these stores and give them your money. That money goes to groups that you don't even know about, who use your money to do unheard of things that you... I don't know. I'm not even going to say it anymore. Just stop that. I don't know.